Thank you, Derek. And good afternoon, Chris. Mahalo for joining us from Hawaii.
Happy to be here.
So in 1996, you became president of TriStar. And in 1998, you became president of production for the merged Columbia TriStar, overseeing many important films. You really broke the glass ceiling for Asian Americans in a major Hollywood studio. What were some of the biggest barriers that you encountered, and how did you get around them?
Thank you for that. I prefer to look at it this way. Coming from Hawaii, where, as you know, it's a very multicultural society. In fact, we have Asian Americans in all levels of society that you see in front of and behind the camera, all the way through the governor and, in business and everything. I never felt like I couldn't achieve something. And so I think that is something that I didn't consider as being a barrier. I'm not that I'm being Pollyannish about it. I'm certainly aware of it. And if you get me drunk, I can tell you lots of stories. But the reality is I got the job because I probably made better choices in the movies that I wanted to pursue. To be honest with you, I was there a long time. I think that I must have gone through 8 management teams by the time I finally got that job. But I also started as a freelance script reader. So I worked my way up through the business, and I just happened to stay at one company. That's a little unusual. A lot of times people jump around from one company to another. So I just think that I think the struggles are more like I tried to do more things for Asian Americans in particular, and that was tough. But I was able to do films for marginalized communities, like with Philadelphia, that I'm very, very proud of to this day. And they were successful. And in the end of the day, it's a business, and I had more hits than other people, I guess.
Right. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned helping marginalized people, because you actually did spend much of your career also helping APIs in entertainment. In 1991, you co-founded CAPE, the Coalition of Asian Pacifics in Entertainment, with Wenda Fong, a USC alumnus, and Fritz Friedman. Yeah. So what was CAPE like in those early years?
Well, there were the 3 of us. And I think in our first meeting, there were maybe 15 people there. And I think Wenda and Fritz and I had all been in the business at that point for at least 10 years. And we had, really believed that while there were some existing organizations that were more actor focused, we wanted to create something that was about the executives, the writers, the directors, the creatives behind the camera as much as in front of the camera. And so, we didn't realize when we started it that it would grow to become the preeminent Asian Pacific American entertainment organization, and now has enormous sponsorship from most of the studios and membership, around the world at this point. We just felt it was time. There was a lack of interaction among those Asian American executives that were around, or writers and directors that were around, and there weren't that many of us. And quite frankly, there were some who didn't want to talk to us either. But, we persevered, and I think we were able to make a difference. But I have to say, I'm extraordinarily proud of what CAPE has become today, and the number of writers it has put into the system through its fellowship program, the number of executives, so its executive mentorship program. And I'm sorry I'm not around to enjoy it more.
Yeah, well, we did have the executive director of CAPE, Michelle Sugihara, join us last year at APFF. Yes. And she did discuss a lot of the amazing programs that they have now. It is amazing how much the organization has grown. And if you out there in the audience, if you're a student or a young alumni in the industry, or even a seasoned veteran, I really recommend that you check out their website, capeusa.org. Mm-hmm. So after you left Columbia TriStar and returned home, you worked very hard and was very successful in getting a lot of TV and film to shoot in Hawaii. What were some of the things you did to accomplish that?
Well, I've worked closely with the government on our incentive program here, and but my main focus has been the school, because my model for setting up the Academy for Creative Media program, which now has we support 17 programs on 10 different campuses, was that we had to build our human infrastructure. And I used as a model New Zealand, and actually hired, one of my first hires was a woman named Murata Mita, who was really the godmother to the New Zealand film industry. And she basically raised everybody from Peter Jackson to Taika Waititi. And New Zealand is a very good comp for Hawaii. It's even farther away from Hollywood than we are, but obviously it has an indigenous culture, and it has a lot of kids that have a natural affinity for filmmaking. So I think, when you build your infrastructure in this business, it requires three things. One is the human capital. The other is the infrastructure, which we're now just opened our new building, which is great. And the other is, quite frankly, incentives, because incentives tend to drive the budgetary process when people decide where they're going to make something.
Yeah, and I see your background is the new ACM building. It's 33,000 square feet, $37 million. And it just maybe this month was completed.
Actually, we finished it pretty much in the late fall, going into December, but we haven't been able to officially open it because of COVID. So students aren't using it. We're just sort of doing our kind of media rollout right now. But I'm really thrilled that we were able to pack so much into the facility. And it's as good as anything you'll find on the mainland. And by the way, when we were planning it, we did come up to USC. It took about 20 people to visit Zemeckis and to visit the Lucas building. We also went to Chapman. We also went to Emerson. And we saw the Google space, the YouTube space in Playa del Rey. So it really informed a lot of our choices and how we were going to do a very progressive facility. And we're just grateful that we had a chance to see what you folks were up to at USC.
Well, you learn from the best. So anyway, what was it that attracted you to education? And how do you think that experience has been for you compared to being in Hollywood and production?
Education is a component of diversifying our economy. And from the beginning, I remember when the UH Board of Regents approved this, one of the questions I got from a regent was, how many students do you expect to have? And my response was, I know I'm going to have a lot of students. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is if they just get an education here and then leave. Because as you know, coming from Hawaii, quite frankly, with the demise of sugar and pineapple now 3 generations ago, our biggest export became our children. And the only way we're going to change our society from its over-reliance on tourism and the service economy is by introducing industries that actually can flourish here. And Hawaii has been a popular place to film ever since Thomas Edison came here in 1906. And in my, I've now been home for almost 2 decades. And, I've seen a lot of attempts at diversifying our economy come and go. And quite frankly, this is the one that's been the success. So right now I'm thrilled that we have 3 series shooting here in Hawaii. We are a very COVID safe place. Just today, we only had 13 new cases on Oahu.
Wow.
17 in the entire state. And, Hollywood has noticed that, we have been very good with wearing our masks and social distancing, and have provided a safe environment for shooting. Now the next goal is to build up our infrastructure. And so the thing that I've been working on behind this building and hopefully going to bring to fruition soon is an actual studio complex, because we're only constrained by the absence of more stages and the ability to accommodate more shows and have bigger crews because of it. So I really think Hawaii, which in 2018 had $480 million in direct spend in the business, can actually get to become $1 billion business with the right infrastructure and the right incentives. And of course, with students coming out of our program.
Well, Chris, Hawaii is so lucky to have you, that you were one of those that got educated, went to Yale, became a success in Hollywood, and actually brought all of that education and experience and work back to the islands to to help everyone back at home. So congratulations on everything you've accomplished.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind. And thank you
And
for asking me to be on your jury.
Oh my God, Chris, I have asked you every year since the first year. And it's been difficult since you're in Hawaii, but now that we're doing it virtually, I'm so excited that you could be here with us today. And thank you and good luck with moving past the pandemic and getting that ACM facility up and running.
Fall. We'll see you. Come visit us in the fall.
Will do. Thanks so much, Chris.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.